Today we're going to enjoy a very healthy dose of existential anxiety, because this delicate little blue ball floating in space is surprisingly easy to destroy. And what's alarmingly easy to do is destroy the life likelihood, which by default is 92%. Say some space alien came in, wanted to remove the snow from this particular area, probably making the rivers and oceans rise a little. We already lost 0.5% just on that. And this number is particularly interesting because the simulation is paused. Time has not moved, but life likelihood has dropped. So let's let the simulation go. It is going really quick. So it's 10.3 hours per second. You see that? Life likelihood is dropping by the minute. Whatever we did was enough to start eradicating life itself. And I'm not entirely sure what gas pressure has to do with anything, but that's gone way out of balance as well. And now it's starting to glow and throb and pulse, and now it's turning red. You see, it just takes a little bit to bump everything out of balance, and then it just cascades down and life will end. So let's talk about the North Pole. Christmas is going to be cancelled this year because we're going to melt it all. Can't leave any on the Rocky Mountains. Well, now that I've given the Earth third-degree burns and removed all the snow in the Northern Hemisphere, let's let things go and see what's about to happen. I'm not entirely sure what this means yet, but I'm not a science guy. Well, life likelihood has dropped to about 42%, but curiously, it's climbing back up, so whatever we did is trying to rebalance itself. But I mean, good luck. The 30 people that live here on the globe probably didn't make it. I almost forgot there was a whole other side to the planet that's got even more snow and ice on it. So after removing that doesn't look good at all. Life likelihood is down to 31%. We've essentially bleached the Earth. I don't know why, but we gave it frosted tips. Pretty sure we can actually just do a strip right down the middle. I don't know why this bleaches the planet, and I'm not really that concerned about it, but we're going to make a Christmas ornament at this point. I don't know why it's doing this, but I think we completely removed the atmosphere from Earth at this point. That's why there's no cloud cover anymore. Life likelihood is still somehow 23%, but it's definitely not looking as habitable as it used to. I think the ocean levels have also risen quite a bit, because the Great Lakes are supposed to stop here. I'm fairly confused as to what I'm looking at, but we did a pretty good job destroying Earth simply by melting some ice. And one of the scariest things is, you don't even have to touch the Earth to end all life there very quickly. If we simply delete the sun, we can watch all of the planets slowly lose their orbit and drift off into space. Mercury's in a hurry. Earth stopped its normal turn and is now drifting straight out into the abyss. You know what's strange is life likelihood on Earth is somehow going up despite the fact there's no more sun and we're drifting out into space with no source of light. So good news, if the sun ever dies, we'll actually thrive and be even better off. So if we speed up this simulation, we can see all the center planets finally getting to where they're going outwards. Earth's going on a little vacation and life likelihood is dropping now that we're getting away from the center. And we can make the numbers in this game really big, to the point where we could probably have this thing leaving the entire galaxy within a few seconds. Also, you can just take the number, go times 10 times 10 a whole bunch of times, and then the whole simulation breaks. So now that we've established a baseline for the Earth, you can still take the sun and make it, say, twice as big with its radius, to our suns. That so far hasn't made any difference. I think it's going to be the mass that might start altering things just a little. So the mass is going by 2, it's been a good vacation for the sun. And Mercury is already starting to swoop in a little bit close. And life likelihood on Earth is dropping quickly, it's all the way down to 84%. The planets in the middle are having more of a roller coaster effect, even Venus came in to say hi. Eventually they might collide, but I don't think we'd be doing our yearly calendar any favors. Well, life likelihood on Earth has dropped to about 65%, mostly because it's taking its big, long, wintry vacation away from the sun, and then it turns into the equator for a minute. So then given enough time, I'm pretty sure its orbit's going to get wonkier and wonkier. So naturally, the next question is, what happens if the moon becomes this close to Earth? Well, I think gravity might take over and the moon is feeling hungry. That happened really quickly. That was in less than a day. We still have some chance of life likelihood though. It's a very small chance. I mean, given enough time, it might do something fun. So I've turned the simulation up to like super mega speed, and life likelihood actually crawled all the way back up to 86%. So this is new Earth. We've spaghettified every continent and raised sea levels a little bit. So I guess if the moon runs into us, we'll all die, probably a horrible death, but given like a trillion years, life can come back to live on whatever this is. But we're just getting started with all the dumb things we can do. Currently, the average temperature on Earth is 7.57 degrees. What happens if that jumps up to only 10 degrees over time? Life likelihood slowly starts to drop, and we can use the charts over here to see the temperature shift. Turns out it's really cold in Greenland, minus 55 degrees. So we'll let the simulation run for a while and see what kind of mess a few degrees makes. So we're going through about 100 years per second at this rate and letting it go. Life likelihood is at about 90%, but it is very slowly dropping. It's been a lot of years, but we managed to make a mess. It is very snowy all the way up to the southern tips of the continents, including Australia, as indicated by the giant snow cone that is the bottom of the Earth. And this up here doesn't look right either. The snow is coming way down to northern Canada. But according to this, it is 15 degrees at the North Pole. The South Pole is at minus 120, so not sure what we've done there. The average temperature actually cooled down, maybe because it's been so much time. So we're going to go ahead and fix that and turn it up to say 20 degrees Celsius. That's double what we turned it up to before. And once we let time go, we see the snow do even crazier things. The whole world is becoming an ice cube because it's just getting colder and colder. That heat might have changed the gas pressure apparently, so we have a little strobe light going on. I've got to say, life is a little more resilient than I thought. We still have a 90% chance of life, although I don't think we're talking human life at this point. Okay, so we can also turn it like that, so it's rotating on completely the wrong thing, so the day-night cycle is completely boned. And this is going to sound weird, but we kind of made the Earth upside down. Now, apparently that doesn't have a super detrimental effect on life on Earth as we're still maintaining life, but it's also still holding its orbit very well. So I think if we go ahead and change that a little bit, that might have some fun effect. So we're going to move it this way, which in theory should make it very, very hot. Yeah, that's the kind of orbit we want with Earth, floating through space like it normally does, hard 90-degree left and hard 90-degree right. Now it's starting to warm up, now that the gentle embrace of the sun is basically licking its surface. The average temperature is going up by 0.1 degrees pretty quickly. The minimum temperature is coming up, the maximum temperature is actually going down. We're going to be at a nice even. I fixed Earth, I balanced it out. Although the average temperature is up to 50 degrees, which is pretty much as hot as it's ever been anywhere on Earth. So apparently 17.6 degrees in Greenland is considered cold these days. We have a really big cold spot here where it always seems to be cold at minus 12. Coldest spot on Earth. Life likelihood is still at actually 70%, and that is dropping fairly quickly, but we are going through time very quickly as well. I was just trying to sprinkle a little bit of water down on the Earth, and we did whatever that is. I think that's actually an enormous ball of water that's just, destroyed Australia and probably made a tidal wave 95 miles high. But I don't really take responsibility for that because the controls are a little bit confusing so far, but that's Australia slowly getting consumed by a monster tidal wave. And there's the water that missed that's one day going to go ruin other planets. Speaking of things that need to cool off, what if we fire a ball of water about 70% the size of Earth at the sun? This one might be a little bit hard to see, but there it goes, the bloop of water, and the sun absolutely destroyed that. So maybe we need something more like 1 Jupiter mass. 1.14 Jupiter masses of water launched directly at the sun. I've accidentally spawned 2, but we'll go ahead and launch 2 Jupiter masses of water at the sun. And wow, that sun is a trooper. Okay, we're now going to fire a ball of water the mass of the sun at the sun. And apparently water is a little bit heavier than the mass of the sun, but it's going to work its way in there. Is this actually going to hurt the sun? I have no idea. That had an effect. Okay, we've turned the sun into a supernova. And it turns out supernovas are also bad for the Earth. But the Earth is kind of a giant baby. I mean, it rains once and the whole thing explodes. Yeah, this is definitely what we wanted to happen to our galaxy. Hopefully no giant ball of water ever floats into our orbit. I think we might also be creating a black hole all at the same time, which is fun. So far now it's just a supernova and we've annihilated most things in our galaxy except for the further out Jupiters. Well, this feels a little more intimate. I found a simulation with just the Earth and the moon. So we get none of those other fun shiny planets distracting me. So what happens if the moon simply gets twice as heavy? Oh, it's sucking in from its orbit. It's getting a weird, uneven shape. Oh, look what it's doing to Earth. Earth is getting really crazy over here. Hold on, we need to focus in on this. Earth is starting to move in a really weird because the moon is having such an effect on it. It's not tides anymore. It's pulling the Earth through space. I guess to be fair on this one, it doesn't have the sun kind of correcting it, so the Earth isn't following anyone's trajectory but the moon's at this point, so it would have a big effect. But we are to talk about the moon, and this moon needs to be heavier, so its mass is getting doubled again. It is now 4 times the size of where we started. And that's going to make the Earth go crazier and crazier in its orbit, and eventually they should collide. Also, judging by what's going on up here, things are getting very cold on the Earth. But there is no sun to warm it up, so that's to be expected. And like any healthy relationship, the moon is staying on the outside, just watching the Earth but never coming in contact. So we better make the moon twice as big again. Well, things are getting swirlier and swirlier, but the moon is still going strong and maintaining its distance. I love how you can just click. You want more size? You got it. 2 times size. It's getting closer. The walls are closing in. And 2 times again. There we go. Things are getting kookier and kookier. 2 times again. Oh, it's getting close. We'll slow it down a little bit so we can actually see when it's going to make contact. Well, they're definitely getting close. I think it needs a little bit more mass, and pretty soon, yeah, the Earth is going to start orbiting the moon. I think eventually they'll collide and create some kind of super planet. More size. I've somehow turned this into a clicker game. I'm just clicking things and making numbers bigger. I've officially made the moon bigger than the Earth by quite a margin, so the Earth should get sucked into there eventually. Things are getting so heavy, the moon basically does a real quick drive by here and takes a hard turn, so it's getting close. This actually makes me feel a lot better, because if the planets in our solar system happen to get a little bit bigger, they're clearly still not going to want to touch each other very easily. Can't imagine what that's doing to the tides on Earth. The oceans would be washing the continents every day. More mass. Get in there. There it is. Now we have our super planet. All we have to do is make it like 100 times bigger. That's beautiful. Look at all the orange dust we launched into space. And because the moon was so big, it is the dominant planet. I'm pretty sure all this dust was the Earth and all the fragments. Eventually, those might get sucked into gravity and reform a nice planet. We are going to go through time and see if anything does form. And it looks like, yeah, it'll come back to a nice shape. Yeah, it's a new moon, but it's the moon. I've loaded in the simulation that has the planets, moons, and space stations, and for some reason it shows a Tesla Roadster floating in space. And now I'm going to put a basketball around it because I accidentally clicked on that. So I'm not entirely sure what those two are going to do if and when they hit each other, but the basketball's got an orbit around the Tesla now, so that's something. But now that makes me want to launch these things into the Earth at high speed to see what happens. How much Tesla does it take to destroy the Earth? I'm pretty sure adding a single Tesla Roadster to this isn't really going to make much of a difference, so we might have to add like a lot of them. And I'm talking like an auto clicker amount. We're going to have a ring of Teslas around this Earth. And there they all are. It's hard to focus on any one of them, but whoops, we'll start the simulation going. We need this to run a little bit slower. Okay, so the Teslas are definitely orbiting the Earth. They're not really crashing into it or doing anything. They are very simply keeping an orbit around. So I think in order to get a reaction, I'm going to need to launch the Teslas at the Earth. Well, here is a fresh new Earth that is sorely lacking and cars being fired at it. So we pick the Tesla, we put it in space, but we select the launch option, and we can choose a launch velocity. We're going to start launch velocity off at 10 kilometers a second and see how that feels. Okay, it's already off to the races. I kind of accidentally launched 2 of them. It's a little bit hard to click onto them because they're so small relative to everything else, but they're well on their way. Okay, hold the phone. I managed to get on there. We'll turn the lighting on and we'll try and watch where this hits. So a single Tesla Roadster hitting the continental United States at 10 kilometers a second. And it made quite a light show, but I don't think it hurt the Earth. Oh, wait, there we go. We're getting something going on. That might have actually ruined the Earth. That's so dramatic. I didn't think that would do nearly that much damage. What is happening? What are Teslas made out of? I don't know what we've done. That might just be debris that like sprung up and is now landing back on Earth. Given the shape of it, that would be my guess. So that reached literally halfway around the world, a single Tesla. So we need to escalate. 100 kilometers a second for one little car. I have to slow the simulation down a lot because obviously it's traveling at 10 times the speed. This time it's going to run into the Earth. Wait for it. There it is. That made a much more bigger impact. The camera always loses focus, obviously, because the Tesla gets blown up. That created quite a shockwave. That's from a single car. And there's a big fireball. The Earth is still actually quite habitable. Probably not that location, but anywhere else. Let's just go ahead and skip through a bit of time and watch the freckles show up again. Yeah, I don't think the United States is doing so hot after that. It looks like it's drying out. Something seems a little weird in this section, but I think so far, like the temperature, if the Earth is still the same, the debris made it a little bit further. 1,000 kilometers a second. So we're very, wow, we are actually, that thing's going so fast. Okay, we gotta zoom way out for that. There we go. There's the initial explosion. We'll speed up time just a smidge. That thing was going fast considering how much I had to slow down time just to see it in action. I think we're gonna get a considerably bigger explosion this time. Yeah, that would cause some damage to a large amount of the people on Earth. The Earth overall, though, still seems actually pretty fine, considering what we're doing to it. The debris chunks are flying all the way to the other side of the Earth this time. 10,000 kilometers a second. Each time we're getting exponentially more and more and more. Okay, we got things slowed down a little bit. Okay, that thing struck the Earth immediately because of its speed. So a little bit quicker and we'll see the big heat bubble in the center. At least I think we will. The Earth is tougher than I thought. We're creating really big fireballs all over North America, but the Earth itself is still pretty fine. I feel like a Tesla at 100,000 kilometers a second is probably going to make quite an impact. Maybe it's ultimately too small. Like, it doesn't have enough weight to actually damage the Earth. I'm not really sure. We're going to try and slow that down so we can actually see it on its journey. Never mind. There it goes. And that's a big crater. That's the kind of explosion we're looking for. That's going to leave a dent right in the middle of the continent, finally. I'd imagine the Earth's atmosphere in general is kind of going through some stuff right now because we released a lot of particles and gas. Okay, this time we're going to escalate times 10 times 10. So we're going 100 times bigger than we just did because we need results. So there's a little Tesla floating in space far above the Earth. We're going to slow things way, way down. Because this thing is going to be going fast no matter what simulation speed we're at. And we're slowly going to turn it up until that Tesla's on its way in. I think I might have evaporated the Tesla. I don't see it and it's not hitting anything. So apparently it is here somewhere. I tried to click on it and I think I got a fragment. So it might have hit a fragment on the way in or it might have become a fragment. So we'll launch this one from a little bit closer in. Simulation go. Yeah, I think it just brakes at that speed. I don't think it's going to allow me to do that. Although there is a shockwave crossing Earth, it might have just hit so quickly that like it doesn't actually make a difference. Yeah, it looks like something hit the Earth, but it was too quick for us to even see. Okay, you know what? We're just going to launch a Tesla at light speed into the Earth. Prepare to do something fun for the first time ever. I've slowed time way, way down just because we're not going to be able to see it move because it's going the speed of light. But the effect it has on the Earth might do something, or it might just sort of evaporate. I don't know if the game can register what's happening. No, there we go. We got something. So a Tesla hitting the Earth at light speed actually is fine. Well, relatively speaking, I don't think the Earth is feeling so hot these days. We might have actually launched it at 33 times the speed of light. But even that's not fast enough. I'm going to hit times 10 until I get bored. And that's going to be a while because I have an auto clicker. I've hit something called something quantitative infinity probably. So that's essentially, there's no limit. It's just impossibly fast. So there's the Tesla, there's the Earth. Here's the Earth disappearing. Okay, we've eliminated the Earth and maybe actually the entire galaxy with an impact that big. I'm very cold and lonely out here. Yeah, we destroyed maybe actually the entire universe with that speed. How many moons do you think we could safely fit between the Earth and the actual moon? Because the real moon is about that far out. I needed to orbit the actual Earth though, so whoops, that didn't work. You know what? None of this is probably going to work anyway, so let's go in with, you know, tempered expectations. Those moons might start orbiting each other. We don't like that. Turns out you got to give them a little space. They like their personal space, otherwise they try and orbit each other. You know what? It doesn't matter. The more moons, the merrier. That's why our planet's the best in the universe, because it has a moon. So we'll give it even more. Okay, I don't know what it's trying to orbit at that point. We're too far out. But that's perfectly normal. There's a dozen moons over there. We're going to slow time down a little bit because we might not get a long chance to see what's going to happen here. Alright, well, the Earth is on its way on its orbit. The moons are slowly following suit. My lighting keeps unadjusting itself. That's better. The moons will just slowly get into their orbit as time goes on. Then they'll all play nice out there around the Earth. You know, this might actually work. Never mind. As I was saying, we've killed the Earth. We've turned it into a white ball of ash and there's more moons coming in. So, turns out the correct amount of moons is somewhere between 0 and 12. That one just straight up exploded over there for some reason. I'm not a physicist, so I have no idea why they're doing the things they're doing. But I don't even know why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So, we're mostly just making a giant ball of ash in the center of everything that's not going to be very productive for anyone. It took a long time to eat all the moons though. They're still going. I spent through a bunch of time and we at least did make a giant mess of the galaxy. There is debris floating everywhere. Particularly around the Earth's orbit. There's just a ring of debris. Now I want to see what happens if we launch a Tesla at the sun at 50 times the speed of light. I'm not sure that actually had any effect. The sun might eat that up, so we might need something quicker. How does 500 times the speed of light do? Wow, it's so dark on that side of things. Okay, well, there's the Tesla, there's the sun, go. The sun is so strong, it manages to eat everything I throw at it. I guess to defeat the Earth, we did have to go big. Okay, we're going 50,000 times light speed. Tesla, go. That also didn't have any effect. Okay, let's ramp it up to whatever that is. I'm not even going to pause it anymore. Tesla, go. Okay, I'm launching cars, you just can't see them. At some point, things do have to break, and I'm not sure if it's actually the impact of the Tesla hitting a planet, or just the force of it traveling through space. Maybe it's just when you have something going at whatever it is infinity, it just breaks things anyway, as it should. Because I'm launching the Teslas at the sun at way beyond light speed. Okay, well there's infinity whatever, but I assume it's just going to be a giant explosion that deletes everything. So I killed the universe.